Hey, Drop Tech fans! Welcome back to the channel. Today, we've got some exciting news about the highly anticipated Galaxy S24 Fan Edition. If you're a Samsung fan, you won't want to miss this update. Let's dive right in. It's been over 6 months since Samsung launched the Galaxy S24, and now, all eyes are on the upcoming Fan Edition. If you're wondering when you can get your hands on it, we've got some juicy details. Just a few days ago, we got a sneak peek at the design and features of the Galaxy S24 Fan Edition, thanks to some leaks. But that's not all. We also have an idea of when it might be released. According to a recent report from IT News, Samsung is gearing up to launch the Galaxy S24 Fan Edition in October 2024. And if you're curious about the Galaxy S16, that's set to follow in December 2024. This timeline is pretty similar to last year when the Galaxy S23 Fan Edition dropped on October 4th. However, there was a bit of a delay for our friends in Europe, where the S23 Fan Edition didn't land until early 2024. So, we'll have to wait and see if the S24 Fan Edition will roll out in stages too. Now, let's talk about what's powering this new device. The Galaxy S24 Fan Edition has recently shown up again on a popular benchmark test, and this time, it's packing Samsung's own Exynos 2400 chip. The latest test results confirm that in Samsung's home country, the Fan Edition will indeed feature this chip. Samsung has a bit of a history here. For the Galaxy S22 series and the S23 Fan Edition, they used both Exynos and Snapdragon chips, but not the latest ones from the S23 series. Naturally, this has left many fans wondering whether the Galaxy S24 Fan Edition would also be stuck with older chips. Well, we've got some good news. A benchmark test from a few months ago has confirmed that the Galaxy S24 Fan Edition won't be using outdated chips. Instead, it will sport the same Exynos chip found in the Galaxy S24 and Galaxy S24 Plus. This move makes perfect sense, considering Samsung didn't release a flagship Exynos chip in 2023, making the Exynos 2400 the obvious choice. After all, who wants to buy a high-end phone with a 2-year-old chip, right? That would certainly raise some eyebrows. Now, here's a question many of you might be asking. What about the Snapdragon chips? Will the Galaxy S24 Fan Edition have a version with the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 in some markets, or will it be all Exynos? While the Exynos 2400 is definitely a powerful chip, the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 is even more impressive. And let's face it, a lot of Samsung fans prefer Galaxy phones with Qualcomm chips. But, as of now, there's no solid evidence of a Snapdragon version for the Galaxy S24 Fan Edition. So, we're in a bit of a wait-and-see situation to find out what Samsung has planned for their Fan Edition lineup. If a Snapdragon version does come out, it might only be available in a few select countries, like the US, Canada, and China. But until we hear more, we can only speculate. So, what do you think about the upcoming Galaxy S24 Fan Edition? Are you excited about the Exynos 2400 chip, or are you holding out for a Snapdragon version? Details about the Samsung Galaxy S24 Fan Edition. If you've been keeping up with the tech world, you know this phone has been anything but a well-kept secret, thanks to all the leaks and rumors floating around. But now, it seems like we're finally approaching its official release, which could be as soon as next month. Let's talk about everything we know so far, from pricing to specs, and what we can expect when this phone finally drops. One of the biggest things everyone's talking about right now is a potential price increase. Yep, you heard that right. According to a new report coming out of Europe, the Galaxy S24 Fan Edition might be €100 more expensive than the previous model. And if that translates directly to the US, we could be looking at a $100 price hike here too. So, if the S23 Fan Edition launched at around $599, the S24 Fan Edition, that's quite a jump, but we'll have to wait and see if this rumor holds up. Now, unfortunately, it doesn't look like we'll be getting any extra RAM or storage for that higher price tag. Reports are saying that the base model will still come with 8GB of RAM and 128GB of storage, just like the S23 Fan Edition. So, no real upgrades in that department, which might be a bit disappointing for some of you. When it comes to battery life, things are also staying pretty similar. The S24 Fan Edition is expected to have the same 25-watt charging as its predecessor. So, no faster charging speeds here, but the battery itself might be a little bigger. Rumors point to a 4,600 mAh battery, slightly larger than what we saw in the S23 Fan Edition. Even though the charging speed hasn't changed, Samsung's software optimization should still make charging feel quick enough for most users. As for the camera setup, well, don't expect any major changes there either. The S24 Fan Edition is said to feature a triple camera system, just like the previous version. This setup includes a 50-megapixel main sensor, a 12-megapixel ultrawide lens, and an 8-megapixel zoom lens. So, while the camera is expected to be solid, it's pretty much the same as what we've already seen in the S23 Fan Edition. No groundbreaking upgrades here, folks. But hold on, Samsung fans in India have something to get excited about. According to well-known leaker Yogesh BR, the Galaxy S24 Fan Edition might come with some different configurations. It could offer up to 12 GB of RAM and come in storage options of either 128 GB or 256 GB. And as for the price, it's rumored to be around 50,000 rupees, which is roughly $600. Now, let's talk about what's under the hood. The Galaxy S24 Fan Edition is expected to run on the Exynos 2400 chipset. This is a slightly underclocked version of the one you'll find in the Galaxy S24 flagship model. Don't worry, though, this small tweak in the CPU shouldn't impact overall performance too much. You should still get smooth performance for everyday tasks and even some gaming. Last but not least, let's discuss the display. The Galaxy S24 Fan Edition is rumored to come with a 6.7-inch Super AMOLED screen, complete with a 120Hz refresh rate. This means you can expect buttery smooth visuals whether you're gaming, watching videos, or just scrolling through social media. And with that slightly bigger battery, we should see longer usage times between charges. So, what do you think? Is the Galaxy S24 Fan Edition shaping up to be a worthy upgrade, or does the potential price increase throw you off? I'd love to hear your upcoming Galaxy S24 Fan Edition. This phone is making headlines, and it seems like Samsung may have just hinted at its official release date. So, what do we know so far? Well, Samsung is planning to launch at least 3 new devices this month, including the much-anticipated Galaxy S24 Fan Edition. Along with the phone, we're also expecting to see 2 premium tablets, most likely the Galaxy Tab S10 Plus and Galaxy Tab S10 Ultra. It's highly possible that these tablets will launch at the same time as the Fan Edition phone. Now, here's where things get interesting. Samsung Vietnam recently shared a teaser video on YouTube, thanks to a source named Chunbai. The video teases a big Galaxy Unpacked event happening on September 26th, and it shows a phone with a metal frame, rounded corners, and 3 cameras on the back. Sound familiar? Yep. All signs are pointing to this being the Galaxy S24 Fan Edition. The teaser also focuses on the typical Fan Edition features, which Samsung usually reserves for their high-end phones. So, this pretty much confirms that the device we're seeing is likely the Galaxy S24 Fan Edition. If you're already getting hyped about this phone, here's some good news. Samsung will be opening pre-registrations for the Galaxy S24 Fan Edition soon. And for those of you who pre-order, there's an extra incentive. You could score up to 2 million Vietnamese dongs, which is roughly $812 in discounts. That's a pretty sweet deal. And, as I mentioned earlier, Samsung isn't stopping with just the phone. Alongside the Galaxy S24 Fan Edition, we can expect the Galaxy Tab S10 Plus and Galaxy Tab S10 Ultra to drop as well. These 3 devices will officially go on sale at 10 p.m. on September 26th in Vietnam. So, mark your calendars, because that's when things are going to get real. If you're wondering about global availability, Samsung has already started blind pre-registrations for both the Galaxy Tab S10 Plus and the Tab S10 Ultra in India. This means pre-registrations will likely kick off in other countries any day now. Shipping is expected to start next week, so if you get your pre-order in early, your new device could be in your hands by September 26th. Alright, folks, That's all the major updates we have today on the Samsung Galaxy S24 Fan Edition and the upcoming Galaxy Tab S10 series. What do you think about Samsung's new devices? Are you planning to pre-order? So, let's dive into all the juicy details. The Galaxy S24 Fan Edition is just around the corner, and the latest leak reveals that it'll come in 4 color options: graphite, blue, green, and yellow. Now, while these may not be the final names that Samsung goes with, it does give us a solid idea of the color choices we can expect. As for the design, it looks pretty familiar if you're a fan of the series, but there's one big change this time around. Unlike the S23 Fan Edition, which had slightly rounded edges, the S24 Fan Edition is going with flat sides, giving it a more sleek and modern vibe. The display on this phone is also getting an upgrade. It'll be flat, and the bezels will be impressively slim, just 1.99mm thick. There's a small hole at the top of the screen for the front-facing camera, which is standard these days. Now, while most of the bezels will be super slim, the bottom one might be a little thicker. But, honestly, we'll have to wait until the official launch to see how noticeable that really is. On the back of the Galaxy S24 Fan Edition, we've got a camera setup that should feel familiar. There are 3 cameras arranged vertically in the top left corner, similar to what we've seen on other Samsung models recently. Each camera will slightly protrude from the back, which adds a bit of depth to the design. The front and back will both be flat and made from glass, with an aluminum frame holding it all together. Plus, the power button and volume rocker are going to be conveniently placed on the right side of the phone for easy access. Now, let's talk specs. The S24 Fan Edition will feature a 6.7-inch Full HD Plus display with a smooth 120Hz refresh rate. So whether you're scrolling through apps, watching videos, or gaming, everything should look incredibly smooth. Oh, and the brightness? It's going to hit up to 1900 nits, which means even in direct sunlight, you should have no trouble seeing what's on your screen. Samsung really knows how to nail display quality, and this phone seems to be no exception. For all you photography lovers out there, the camera setup looks promising. The main camera will be a 50-megapixel shooter, paired with a 12-megapixel ultrawide camera and an 8-megapixel telephoto camera that offers 3x optical zoom. This trio of lenses should give you plenty of flexibility when capturing different kinds of shots, whether it's landscapes or close-ups. You'll be able to expect high-quality photos across a variety of conditions. So, what's the timeline looking like for the Galaxy S24 Fan Edition? Based on past patterns, we're expecting the official launch around early October. That means we're only about a month away from seeing this phone hit the market. Be sure to subscribe to Drop Tech so you don't miss any updates as we get closer to the big release date. Alright, that's all for today. I'd love to hear what you think about the Samsung Galaxy S24 Fan Edition. Are you excited about the flat sides? Or maybe the camera setup has caught your attention? Samsung's upcoming Galaxy S24 Fan Edition, which is set to launch soon. It's been more than 6 months since Samsung released the Galaxy S24, and as expected, Samsung is likely getting ready to drop the Fan Edition version very soon. We've got the latest leaks, reports, and even some benchmark tests to cover, so let's get into it. A few days ago, the design and specs of the Galaxy S24 Fan Edition were leaked, giving us an early look at what to expect. And now, we've got even more juicy details about the potential release date. According to IT News, Samsung is reportedly planning to launch the Galaxy S24 Fan Edition in October 2024. That's not all. They're also expected to drop the Galaxy S16 in December 2024. If this timing sounds familiar, it's because last year, Samsung released the Galaxy S23 Fan Edition on October 4th, which aligns pretty closely with this year's timeline. But here's the thing. The Galaxy S23 Fan Edition didn't hit the European markets until early 2024. So, the big question is, will the S24 Fan Edition be released globally all at once, or are we looking at another staggered rollout? It's definitely something to keep an eye on. Now, let's talk about performance, something every fan of Samsung is eager to know. The Galaxy S24 Fan Edition has recently appeared on a popular benchmark test, and this time it's packing the Exynos 2400 chip. Yup, that's right. This latest test confirms that, at least in its home market, Samsung will be using their own Exynos chip in this Fan Edition model. This decision makes sense if we look at what Samsung did with the Galaxy S23 Fan Edition, which featured a mix of Exynos and Snapdragon chips. But they were chips from the Galaxy S22 series, not the newer ones from the S23 series. Naturally, this left many fans wondering if Samsung would stick to older chips for the Galaxy S24 Fan Edition too. Well, good news, it won't. According to last month's benchmark test, the Galaxy S24 Fan Edition is getting the same Exynos 2400 chip as the flagship Galaxy S24 and S24 Plus models. And that's a big deal because Samsung didn't release a flagship Exynos chip in 2023, so going with the latest Exynos 2400 was pretty much the only choice. Let's be real. Nobody wants to pay flagship prices for a phone that's running on a 2-year-old chip, right? But what about Snapdragon chips? Will we see the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 in some versions of the Galaxy S24 Fan Edition? Now, while the Exynos 2400 is no slouch, the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 is even more powerful, and it's no secret that many Samsung fans prefer Qualcomm chips over Exynos. However, as of now, there's no evidence to suggest that a Snapdragon version of the Galaxy S24 Fan Edition will be available. Still, Samsung could surprise us. If a Snapdragon version does get released, it's likely going to be limited to select markets like the US, Canada, and China. So, if you're hoping for a Qualcomm-powered Galaxy S24 Fan Edition, you might have to wait and see if it'll be available in your region. So, what do you guys think? Will you be going for the Galaxy S24 Fan Edition, or will you hold out for the flagship S24 models? And would you prefer the Exynos 2400 chip or the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3? Samsung Galaxy S24 Fan Edition. Trust me, these leaks might just make you reconsider your next smartphone purchase. The Galaxy S24 FE is packing some serious heat in the Fan Edition lineup, and it's not just the price that's catching everyone's attention. We're talking the biggest screen ever on a Fan Edition device, alongside flagship-level features that'll make you wonder if premium models are even worth it. So, let's dive into everything you need to know about the Samsung Galaxy S24 FE. Samsung's Fan Edition series has always been known for providing great value, and the Galaxy S24 FE is no exception. According to trusted leaker Yogesh BR, this phone is expected to launch with a price tag under $600, similar to its predecessor. But don't be fooled by the price. This phone is packing some serious flagship-level specs that could compete with Samsung's high-end models. Let's start with the display, the most eye-catching feature of the Galaxy S24 FE. It's rumored to boast a massive 6.7-inch FHD plus 120Hz display. Yes, you heard that right. 6.7 inches. That's the same size as the Galaxy S24 Plus display, which usually comes with a $999 price tag. But with the S24 FE, you're getting this premium display experience for around $600. That's a huge win for anyone looking to save some cash without losing out on quality. Now, let's talk about what's under the hood. Depending on your region, the Galaxy S24 FE will either be powered by the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 chipset in the US, or the Exynos 2400 processor in international markets. Both chips promise significant improvements in performance and energy efficiency over last year's models. The Exynos 2400, in particular, is a 10-core powerhouse featuring one Cortex-X4 Prime CPU clocked at 3.21 GHz for demanding tasks, 2 Cortex-A720 cores at 2.9 GHz, 3 Cortex-A720 cores at 2.6 GHz, and 4 Cortex-A520 cores running at 1.95 GHz for lighter tasks. This combination guarantees smooth performance and better battery life, making the Galaxy S24 FE a great choice for power users. Now, let's get into the camera system. The Galaxy S24 FE will feature a familiar triple rear camera setup with a 50-megapixels main sensor, a 12-megapixels ultra-wide camera, and an 8-megapixels telephoto lens. While this isn't a huge upgrade from the Galaxy S23 FE, it's still a reliable camera system that will capture sharp, vibrant photos in a variety of conditions. And for your selfies, you've got a 10-megapixels front camera, more than capable of delivering high-quality shots and videos for your social media. Battery life is always a concern, and Samsung hasn't neglected that. The Galaxy S24 FE is expected to come with a 4,600 mAh battery. While it's slightly smaller than some might have hoped for, the new processor's efficiency should provide solid battery performance. It's designed to last throughout your day, especially considering the price point. So, all in all, the Galaxy S24 FE is shaping up to be an incredible device for anyone wanting flagship features without the flagship price. With a rumored starting price of under $600, Samsung is really offering something special for its fan base. If you're in the market for a new phone and want to get the most bang for your buck, the Galaxy S24 FE should definitely be on your radar. What do you think? Could the Galaxy S24 FE be the best fan edition yet? If you're in the US and a fan of Samsung's Galaxy series, this update is just for you. The Galaxy S24 FE is heading to the States, and Samsung is making a major move by reintroducing the Exynos chip to the US for the first time in nearly a decade. Yes, you heard that right. Let's dive into what this means for the Galaxy S24 FE and why it's generating so much buzz. The Galaxy S24 FE, Samsung's latest fan edition smartphone, is slated for an October launch, coinciding with the highly anticipated Galaxy Tab S10 series. While the Galaxy S24 FE was initially expected to feature the Exynos 2400 chip solely in markets outside the US, Samsung has surprised us by potentially bringing this chip to the US version of the Galaxy S24 FE as well. So, why is the Exynos 2400 such a big deal? Let's break it down. For years, Samsung has relied on Qualcomm's Snapdragon chips for its high-end Galaxy phones in the US. This trend includes the Galaxy Note, Galaxy S, and Galaxy Z series. But it looks like the Galaxy S24 FE is set to disrupt this pattern. A recent Geekbench listing for the US carrier-locked version of the S24 FE, model number SM721U, reveals it's equipped with the Exynos 2400 chip and 8 GB of RAM. This news has tech enthusiasts. The Exynos 2400 is a powerful chip that debuted with the global Galaxy S24 and S24 Plus earlier this year. Built on Samsung's advanced 4nm process, it features a high-performance octa-core CPU, a Cortex-X4 core clocked at 3.2 GHz, 2 Cortex-A720 cores at 2.9 GHz, 3 more Cortex-A720 cores at 2.6 GHz, and 4 Cortex-A520 cores running at 1.95 GHz. In terms of performance, the Exynos 2400 is a substantial upgrade from its predecessors, offering enhanced power efficiency and performance. In fact, it even surpasses the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 in ray tracing capabilities. While it does lag slightly behind Snapdragon in power efficiency, the difference isn't as significant as it used to be, which is a major win for Samsung. The Galaxy S24 FE Exynos variant could be a game-changer for fans looking for more chip variety. So, what do you think about Samsung's decision to use the Exynos 2400 in the US version of the Galaxy S24 FE? Is this a smart move, or are you still Team Snapdragon? Samsung Galaxy S24 FE. We've been following all the leaks and rumors, and while there were some disappointing reports earlier this week, it seems things might not be as bad as they first appeared. So, let's break down everything we know so far, from the price and design to specs and the possible release date of the Galaxy S24 FE. Now, let's talk about pricing. Earlier in the week, a rumor suggested that the base model of the Galaxy S24 FE would come with 8 GB of RAM and 128 GB of storage, priced at a steep €799. That's about €100 more than the Galaxy S23 FE, which left a lot of fans feeling pretty disappointed. With a price tag like that, many would likely start comparing it to the Galaxy S24 Plus, which is priced around €800. And let's face it, when two phones are so close in price, most people will be tempted to go for the more premium model. But here's the good news. A new report from another source is offering a bit of relief. According to a leak from @MysteryLupin on X, formerly known as Twitter, the base model of the Galaxy S24 FE, still with 8GB of RAM and 128GB of storage, will actually be priced at €749. That's €50 less than the original leak, and it definitely softens the blow for fans who were concerned about the price. Not only that, but the variant with 8GB of RAM and 256GB of storage is expected to be priced at €899. So, Samsung is giving customers a bit more flexibility with their options. Now, if you're wondering who at Mystery Lupin is, he's not as well known as big leakers like Evan Blass or Roland Quant, but his track record has been solid. So, these new prices seem more reasonable and credible compared to the earlier, higher estimates. Now, moving on to design. Fresh renders of the Galaxy S24 FE have leaked, and they showcase the phone in 4 stunning colors: graphite, mint, yellow, and blue. And guess what? It looks almost identical to the Galaxy S23 FE. This is a great thing because the S23 FE had a sleek, symmetrical, and sophisticated design that fans loved. Samsung seems to be sticking with that winning formula, and if you liked the design of the S23 FE, the S24 FE is going to impress you just as much. Here's where things get interesting. With the Galaxy S24 Plus priced at €800, there's very little price difference between it and the S24 FE. The Galaxy S24 Plus offers a more premium set of features, so this raises an important question. Will people still go for the S24 FE when the S24 Plus is so close in price? It's a tough decision because for just a little bit more, you can get a better feature set with the S24 Plus. However, if Samsung is targeting users who want a more budget-friendly fan edition, the S24 FE could still be an appealing option. We'll just have to wait and see how the market reacts once both phones are available. So, when can we expect to see the Galaxy S24 FE hit the shelves? The exact release date is still a bit unclear, but the best guess right now is soon, very soon. There's speculation that the S24 FE might launch alongside the Galaxy Tab S10 series. If that's the case, we could be looking at a release date around September 26th. However, it's unlikely that Samsung will hold a big unpacked style event for this launch since they just had one. We're probably looking at a quieter announcement or maybe even a separate event with less fanfare. But either way, the release is approaching fast, so stay tuned. Alright, now for the specs because, let's be honest, that's what really matters. Here's what we expect from the Galaxy S24 FE. A 6.7-inch dynamic AMOLED 2X display with a 120Hz refresh rate and a resolution of 2340 by 1080 pixels. This is going to give you a super smooth, vibrant screen. Powering the phone will be Samsung's Exynos 2400 processor, paired with 8GB of RAM, ensuring solid and reliable performance. The camera setup will likely include a 50MP main sensor, an 8MP ultra-wide, and a 12MP telephoto lens. On the front, you'll get a 10MP selfie camera. As for the battery, the S24 FE is expected to come with a 4600 mAh battery that supports 25W wired charging and 15W wireless charging. And let's not forget, it will have an IP68 rating for water and dust resistance, which adds a nice level of durability to the device. These are some solid specs, but the real question is whether the Galaxy S24 FE can stand up to other budget-friendly 5G phones on the market. So, can it claim the title of the best budget 5G phone in the US? It's possible, but it's not a sure thing. At around $650, it's not exactly the cheapest option out there. For example, the OnePlus 12R is priced around $450, and Google's Pixel 8 comes in at $500 and even includes a free Pixel Watch. The competition in this price range is fierce, so it'll be interesting to see how the S24 FE holds up. That's all for today's video. What do you think about the Galaxy S24 FE? Are you excited about the price drop, or are you leaning toward other budget-friendly options? Samsung's upcoming Galaxy S24 Fan Edition. If you're excited about what's coming next from Samsung, make sure to stick around until the end. Samsung is bringing back the Fan Edition series with the Galaxy S24 Fan Edition. Although they skipped releasing a Galaxy S22 Fan Edition, it seems like they're committed to continuing this popular lineup. For those who might be new to this, the Fan Edition series offers a more budget-friendly version of Samsung's flagship models, while still packing in a lot of premium features. Samsung doesn't always release all its smartphones in the US. Fan Edition will definitely be available there. A new, unannounced Samsung smartphone with the model number SMS721EU has popped up in the Bluetooth SIG database. Based on this model number, it seems to be the carrier-locked variant of the Galaxy S24 Fan Edition for the US market. For comparison, the Galaxy S23 Fan Edition's carrier-locked variant in the US had the model number SMS711U. Although the Bluetooth certification for the Galaxy S24 Fan Edition doesn't reveal much about its features, there's some speculation based on previous models. The US version is expected to be powered by the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 chip, which would mean it'll support 5G, Wi-Fi 6E, and Bluetooth 5.3. Meanwhile, the global version is likely to come with the Exynos 2400 chip, the same one used in the global variants of the Galaxy S24 and S24 Plus. According to reports, Samsung is planning to launch the Galaxy S24 Fan Edition in October 2024, with the Galaxy S16 expected to follow in December 2024. This timeline is similar to last year when the Galaxy S23 Fan Edition was released in October, though it didn't reach Europe until early 2024. So, we'll have to wait and see if the S24 Fan Edition will also have a staggered release across different regions. The Galaxy S24 Fan Edition has also been spotted in a well-known benchmark test, and this time it's shown up with the Exynos 2400 chip inside. This latest test confirms that in its home country, Samsung will be using its own chip for the Fan Edition model. Fans have been curious if Samsung would stick with older chips like they did with the S23 Fan Edition, but it looks like they're moving forward with the newer technology this time around. And that's a wrap on everything we know so far about the Galaxy S24 Fan Edition. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up and make sure to hit that subscribe button below. If you're new here, don't forget to click the bell icon so you never miss an update. We'll see you in the next video. Peace out.